Betty is my name. My age is 33. I made a mistake 5 years ago. I got married to a man. I married him too quickly. He was not someone I knew well. I was 28 years old 5 years ago. I was employed as a designer. I created images. I created designs. I did my work from home. I enjoyed what I did. I was overjoyed. I attended a work function one day. There were a lot of people present. I got to know a man. Harold was his name. His age was 35. He stood tall. He had good looks. His smile was pleasant. He dressed nicely. I had a conversation with Harold. He inquired about my job. He examined my designs. They were lovely, he said. I was talented, he said. He inquired about my dreams. He paid attention to me. That was not how other people listened. I felt unique. I had a positive feeling. We began dating. I went to some nice restaurants with Harold. The cost of the food was high. He purchased flowers for me. I received gifts from him. He was kind to me. He declared his love for me. We would be content, he said. I trusted him. I also adored him. It was 3 months later. It moved very quickly. Harold proposed to me one evening. I got a ring from him. I was taken aback. I was ecstatic. Yes, I replied. However, my friends were concerned. It's too quick, they said. The same thing was said by my sister. I need more time, my mother said. However, I ignored them. I believed that this was true love. I believed I was an expert on everything. I was mistaken. We soon tied the knot. It was a small wedding. It was pleasant. My relatives arrived. His relatives arrived. A few friends showed up. I had on a white dress. I felt lovely. Harold gave me a tender glance. I was ecstatic. I believed that my life was now ideal. Things changed after the wedding. Harold purchased a large home. The house was located far from the city. The suburbs were the location. There were 6 rooms in the house. There was a large garden there. It cost a lot of money. I don't have to work right now, Harold said. I can stay at home, he said. I can take care of the house, he said. I can look after him, he said. I gave it some thought. I enjoyed what I did. However, I also adored Harold. My goal was to bring him joy. Yes, I replied. I prepared my belongings. I put my pens away. I packed my documents. My computer was packed. I filled a box with everything. I placed the box in the storage area. I assumed I could remove it at a later time. I assumed that this would only last temporarily. I was mistaken. Every decision in the house was made by Harold. He chose the hues for the walls. He purchased every piece of furniture. The curtains were his choice. I wasn't asked by him. He didn't want my viewpoint. I once said, I like blue. I requested that the bedroom be painted blue. He grinned. He claimed to know what's best. I should trust him, he said. He didn't say anything hurtful. However, they made me feel insignificant. I felt invisible because of them. My life became very easy. Every morning I got up early. The sun had not yet risen. Harold remained in bed. I made my way to the kitchen. I prepared coffee for him. I prepared eggs. I prepared toast. I laid everything out on the table. Harold awoke. He entered the kitchen. He took a seat. He consumed his breakfast quickly. He sipped his coffee. He glanced at his phone. He avoided looking at me. He didn't speak to me. "Have a good day," I said. "You too," he said. After that, he departed for his job. The door shut. I was by myself. The house was large. There was silence in the house. The silence was excessive. Every day, I cleaned the kitchen. I cleaned every dish. I wiped down the table. The counters were cleaned by me. After that, I tidied the living room. I did the bathroom's cleaning. The beds were made by me. The laundry was done by me. I folded the clothing. I kept cleaning. The house was spotless all the time. However, it was never sufficiently clean. There was always more work to be done. The home was stunning. It featured large windows. The furniture was pricey. Everything appeared flawless. However, the house was chilly. It didn't feel cozy. It didn't feel like home. It was his home. I simply resided there. I went to the store after cleaning. For dinner, I purchased some food. I purchased veggies. I purchased meat. I purchased bread. I purchased milk. I purchased eggs. After that, I returned home. I stored everything. I glanced at the time. It was just midday. It was a very long day. Now what could I do? I took a seat on the sofa. I surveyed the large home. I felt so little. I was disoriented. I switched on the television. I saw a program. However, I didn't give a damn. All I did was wait. I bided my time for Harold. I bided my time until nightfall. I awaited the end of the day. I began preparing dinner in the afternoon. I prepared delicious meals. I wanted Harold to be content. I arranged the table beautifully. I extinguished the candles. I wanted to speak with you. I wanted our relationship to resume, similar to before we were married. However, Harold was consistently late for home. He was worn out. He took a seat at the table. The food was brought by me. I took a seat. I gave him a look. "How was your day?" I asked. "Busy?" he said. He pulled his phone out. "What did you do today?" I asked. "Work," he said. "Meetings," he said. He glanced at his phone. He avoided looking at me. We consumed our meal. We didn't speak. The candles went out. The food became chilled. There was a heavy silence. The entire room was filled with it. I had trouble breathing. Harold occasionally switched on the television. While we were eating, he watched TV. He glanced at the display. I gave him a look. He didn't notice me. I was there. However, he failed to notice me. I didn't exist. He went to his office after supper, or he increased his TV viewing. I did the kitchen's cleaning. I did the dishwashing. I sat by myself after that. I attempted to read a book. I glanced at my phone, but I had no emotion. Inside, I was hollow. My life was now like this. Every day was the same. I awoke. I prepared breakfast. The house was cleaned by me. I visited the shop. Dinner was prepared by me. I held out. I ate quietly. I did another cleaning. I went to sleep. Tomorrow, I repeated the entire process, and the following day, and the following day. I made an effort to recall my former life, the life prior to Harold. Back then, I was different. At the time, I was content. I worked on my designs. I had coffee with my pals. I visited art exhibits. I went to the movies. I went about my life. I just existed now. Day by day, my former apartment came to mind. It was tiny. There was only one room. However, it belonged to me. My desk was close to the window. I spent hours drawing there. The sun entered. There, I felt alive. I felt like myself. However, that girl was no longer there. I had no idea where she had gone. I cleaned the storage room one day. It was crammed with outdated boxes. I rearranged the boxes. I discarded a few items. I then noticed my box. My old box. The box containing my design items. I came to a halt. My heart was racing. I strolled over to the box. I made contact with it. The top was covered in dust. Slowly, I opened the box. My pens were inside. My writing instruments, my markers, my old notebooks, my old sketches. I pulled out a pen. I grasped it. In my hand, it felt weird. It was like an old acquaintance, but like something from another life, too. I pulled out my old sketches. I examined each one individually. They performed well. They were imaginative. They had a lot of vitality. They were vibrant. I glanced at my name on them. Betty. However, it no longer felt like my name. It sounded like the name of someone else. A different Betty. I gave the drawings more attention. The girl who made them was visible to me. The girl dreamed. That girl was passionate. The girl's eyes were blazing. What happened to her? How did she end up? I took a seat on the ground. The drawings were in my hands. Inside of me, something broke. My eyes filled with tears. I broke down in tears. For that girl, I shed tears. For the dreams I suppressed, I wept. I sobbed for the life I had lost. I wept uncontrollably. I pulled out a piece of blank paper. I picked up a pen. I attempted to sketch something. Anything. I touched the paper with the pen. However, nothing emerged. My hand did not move correctly. I had nothing on my mind. There was no longer any creativity. There was no longer any fire. I was no longer that person. I refilled the box with everything. I shut it. I returned it to the corner. However, I was unable to forget it. I kept thinking about it, both day and night. That container, that former existence. I used to be that girl. Days went by, weeks went by. Every day I felt worse and worse. Inside, I felt like I was dying. Slowly, incredibly slowly, silently. Nobody took notice, not even Harold. Then my friend Kathleen gave me a call one day. My old friend was Kathleen. Before I got married, we worked together. We stopped communicating as much. I was short on time, or vitality, or anything to say to anyone. Kathleen greeted me. "How are you?" she asked. She sounded so joyful. "I'm fine," I said. However, I wasn't doing well. She claimed to have something for me. She claimed to have a part-time job. It's design work, a cafe's logo. I am able to complete it from home. It won't require much time. I want to do it, she asked. My heart leaped. Design work. Actual labor. My job. Yes, I replied. Yes, I want to do it, I replied. Excellent, Kathleen said. She promised to send me all the information. It will be enjoyable, she said. Like old times, she said. I felt something when I hung up the phone, something I hadn't felt in months. I was excited. I was filled with hope. I was happy. I felt alive for the first time in a very long time. It was not emptiness I felt. Harold got home from work that night. I was content. I had positive news. I wanted to let him know. At the door, I waited for him. He entered. I gave him a smile. "I have good news," I said. "What is it?" he asked. He removed his coat. "Kathleen called today," I said. "I have a job with her. Design work. I am able to complete it from home. It won't require much time. I'm ecstatic." Harold halted. He gave me a look. His expression shifted. "Why do I need a job?" he asked. "Because I adore it," I said. "That's what I do. I am who I am. I'm skilled at it. I don't have to work," Harold said. He spoke in a composed tone. However, it was also chilly. He claimed to give me everything. "This house is mine. I own a vehicle. I'm wealthy." "What do I need more money for?" he asked. "It's not about money," I said. "It has to do with me, about my favorite activities." "But what will people think?" he asked. "His companions, his relatives, they will believe he is incapable of providing for his spouse. They'll believe he's a bad husband. They'll believe he's impoverished." I gazed at him. That's when I understood. He didn't care about me. He didn't care if I was happy. He was concerned about his reputation, about the opinions of others, about how other people perceived the situation. "This isn't about you," I said. "I am the subject of this. Concerning my life." He claimed that everything I do has an impact on him. "We're married," he said. "I am now his wife," he declared. His spouse. Not Betty, not a dreamer. Only his spouse. It was his thing, his own property. Silently, I said, "I want to do this job." "No," he replied. "No," is the response. Once more, he declined. He turned his back on me. He proceeded to his workplace. He firmly shut the door. I was standing in the hallway. Something inside of me cracked. Something broke. Something was permanently altered. I had a terrible time sleeping that night. I considered everything. Concerning my life. Concerning Harold. About my former self. About the person I turned into. About my ideal self. I made another attempt to speak with Harold the following day. I had to be understood by him. I had to be seen by him, to actually see me. "We need to talk," I said. He inquired as to what. I mentioned us, concerning me, about my daily emotions. He uttered a sound of exhaustion. "All right," he said. "Talk then," he said. We took a seat in the living room. I inhaled deeply. I felt afraid. However, I had to say it. "I feel invisible," I said. "I don't feel like I'm here. Every day, I feel like I'm vanishing." He appeared perplexed. "What do I mean by that?" he asked. I claimed to have lost myself. I am no longer who I once was. I am merely his spouse. I tidy his home. I prepare his meals. I'm waiting on him. However, I am no longer a person. I am no longer Betty. "That's crazy," he said. "I have everything here," he said. He claimed to have provided me with everything I needed. He gave me things, I said. A home, a vehicle, cash, things. However, things are insufficient. I need more than material possessions. "What more do I want?" he asked. Now his voice became louder. He felt irritated. "I have a perfect life here," he said. "This is a life that other women would adore." "What's wrong with me?" he asked. I gave him a look. He didn't comprehend. He would never get it. We didn't speak the same language. My prison was his ideal life. My nightmare was his dream. I muttered, "There's nothing wrong with me. This life is flawed in every way with this union." "This is crazy talk," he said. "I'm being dramatic," he said. "I am being silly," he said. I didn't respond to him. Nothing more could be said. He was unable to hear me. He was unwilling to listen to me. I would never be heard by him. The room was silent. It weighed a lot. So loud. Louder than a battle. More loud than any yelling. I knew the truth in that quiet. I totally lost myself. I had left. And Harold was completely unaware of it. He didn't give a damn. I got to my feet. I turned my back on him. I entered the bedroom. I shut the door. I took a seat on the bed. I sobbed. I sobbed for the girl I used to be. I sobbed for the life I desired. I sobbed for the fake marriage. Not at all real. However, another thing also occurred. Deep down, something changed in me. I made a decision at that very moment. I made up my mind not to vanish. I would no longer be invisible. I would discover who I was once more, in any case, regardless of the cost. I persisted. I decided what to do after that night. I would accept Kathleen's position. However, I would keep it a secret from Harold. I would keep it a secret. My personal matter. Only for me. The following day, I gave Kathleen a call. I accepted the position. She was ecstatic. I received all the information from her. It was an easy project. A new cafe's logo. I could work from home. Anytime I wanted, I could do it. I bided my time until nightfall. That night, Harold went to bed early. He was exhausted from his job. He quickly went to sleep. In the bedroom, I waited. I paid attention to him. He snored, and I heard it. Then I silently stood up. I proceeded to the storage area. I pulled out my box. I moved it into the living room. I cracked it open. I pulled out my paper and pens. I took a seat at the table. It was dark inside the house. There was silence in the house. Everyone had fallen asleep. However, I was awake. For the first time, I felt alive. I examined the blank sheet of paper. I grabbed a pen. My hand trembled a little. I then began to sketch. Nothing emerged at first. I had a stiff hand. My fingers are hurting. I had nothing on my mind. However, I persisted. I sketched lines. I sketched shapes. I sketched circles. I sketched squares. My thoughts came to me slowly. The pen traveled over the paper. There are numerous marks on the paper. I drew and drew and drew. Hours went by. I was unaware of the time. I was engrossed in my work. I'm lost in my art. I was lost in myself. It was 3 a.m. when I looked up. However, I wasn't at all exhausted. My body was filled with energy. My heart was filled with joy. I felt alive once more. My heart began to beat once more when I held that pen. It beat quickly and forcefully. This was kept under wraps. My trade secret. I had the first item all to myself. Only mine after 5 arduous years. After that, I worked every night I worked after Harold went to bed. I worked even harder when Harold traveled for work. Occasionally, all day and all night. I worked on the logo. I experimented with a lot of different concepts. I made a change. Every time, I improved it more and more. I was exhausted at times. My eyes are hurting. My back ached. However, that didn't concern me. I was pleased with this work. It made up for the huge void inside of me. I had a purpose because of it, an excuse to get up. I completed the logo after 2 weeks. I forwarded it to Kathleen. I then bided my time. I was really anxious. What if it wasn't good? What happens if I can't remember how to do this? What would happen if I lost my talent? The following day, Kathleen gave me a call. "This is incredible," she said. There was excitement in her voice. "The client adores it," she said. "They wish to make use of it." I was filled with genuine, overwhelming joy when Kathleen praised my talent. The $200 she paid me felt like $1,000,000 because I had earned it myself. I hid the money from Harold in an old, secret bank account. It was my freedom and proof of my capability. As Kathleen sent more small design jobs, I worked secretly at night while Harold slept. With every completed project, my confidence grew. I began reclaiming my identity. I replaced my dull, Harold-approved wardrobe with vibrant, colorful clothes, and I reconnected with old friends. One morning, I looked in the mirror and finally saw the fire back in my eyes. I smiled. The true Betty was returning. However, I was aware that this secret would eventually come to an end. My work would be discovered by Harold. One day, he had to find out. All I did was wait, awaiting the moment when it would occur. On a Tuesday afternoon, it took place. Harold left work early and returned home. That was never the case. I was in the living room. I took a seat on the sofa. I used my laptop to work. My emails were open, emails exchanged with customers. I didn't hear him enter the room. "What are you doing there?" he asked. I leaped to my feet. I was terrified. I quickly shut down the laptop. However, it was too late. He looked at the screen. I remained silent. My voice trembled. "Let me see that," he said. His tone was icy and harsh. "No," I replied. He approached me. He took the laptop from my hands. He opened it. He glanced at the display. He read my emails. His expression shifted. It got red. His eyes got very big. His mouth opened. He asked, "What is this?" I said quietly, "It is my work." He said, "Your work." His voice got very loud now, very angry. He said, "I told you no." He said, "I said you could not work." "No," he replied. I said, "I know what you said." He asked, "So you lied to me?" He was shouting now. He said I went behind his back. He said I deceived him. He said I broke his trust. I said I did what I needed to do. My voice was calm. He shouted I betrayed him. He said our whole marriage. He said I broke everything. I said I needed this. I needed to be me again. I needed to feel alive again. He shouted, "This is not about me." His face was so red. He said, "This is about us, about our marriage, about respect and trust." He was so angry, so hurt, but I was not afraid of him. No longer. I was calm. I had strength. I was prepared. "This is about me," I said. It was all about me, my existence. My aspirations, my job, me. No, he replied. I am his wife, he declared. I promised him, he said. I chose this life with him, he said. I said I made the wrong decision. The words were powerful and unambiguous. He gazed at me. His jaw dropped open. He was astounded by what I had said. It was unbelievable. What did you say? He asked. I reiterated that I made a bad decision. This time, louder. I married him too quickly. I gave up too much. I totally lost myself. And I'm going to stop doing it. Not for another day. Okay then, he said. His tone had become extremely icy, similar to ice. Then make a decision now, he said. It's either me or this ridiculous pastime. I have to make a decision. I have to make a decision now. This moment. I gave him a look. I gave this man a look. I married the man too quickly. The charming and attractive man. The man who gave me a large, exquisite home. A lovely cage. The man who didn't see me. Not at all. Not who I really am. Never. And I uttered the words I had to say. The words that would transform my entire existence. I declared that I would pick myself. Harold's face turned pale. His face was completely devoid of color. He was unable to speak. He merely gazed at me. He opened and closed his mouth. Nothing was said. Then he pivoted. He turned his back on me. He proceeded to his workplace. He forcefully shut the door. The entire house trembled. I took a seat on the couch once more. My hands trembled. My entire body trembled. I wasn't depressed, though. I didn't feel afraid. I had my freedom. Free at last. I packed my belongings that evening. I grabbed a large bag. I prepared my wardrobe, my laptop, my writing instruments and documents, all of my design materials, my vital records, my old pictures. I didn't bring much. There wasn't much I needed from this house. I wrote Harold a note in the morning. I kept it really basic, incredibly brief. I'm heading out of this house. I must be who I am. I apologize. Farewell, Betty. The note was left on the kitchen table by me. I grabbed my bag. I made my way to the door. I cracked it open. I left. I didn't turn around. Not once. I entered my vehicle. I left that large house in my car. Steer clear of the suburbs. Get out of that life. Returning to the city. I'm back to myself. Come back to me. I spent 2 weeks with Kathleen. She treated me with such kindness. She made extra space for me. Every night, we had a conversation. She was a huge help to me. After that, I got an apartment of my own. It was tiny, only 1 bedroom, 1 small bathroom, a tiny kitchen, a tiny living area. However, the windows were large. There was an abundance of light. There, I could breathe. I was able to breathe once more. It was not at all elegant. The furnishings were outdated. Additionally, the paint was outdated. However, it belonged to me. The lease paper had my name on it. My apartment. My house. My location. I positioned my desk close to the window, close to the large window. I placed my papers and pens there. I set my laptop down there. This was now where I worked. My area of creativity. My unique location. Only for me. My new life was challenging. I put in a lot of work. I had very little money. Everything had to be paid for by me alone. However, I was ecstatic. I had my freedom. Every day, I put in a lot of work. My business improved gradually. I gained more customers. I received more cash. I also made new acquaintances. We had coffee together. We went to the movies. I was living my own life. A year went by. I had a great life. My business was doing well. I had sufficient funds. I was in good health. I was content. Then my phone rang one day. Harold was the one. I was taken aback. I picked up the phone. I greeted them. "It's Harold," he said. He spoke softly and quietly. "Can we talk?" he asked. He informed me that he attended therapy. "I understand now," he said. "I was completely mistaken," he said. "I controlled you," he said. "I'm so sorry," he said. I paid attention. I thought he was sorry. "Can I see you?" he asked. I just wanted to apologize in person. I gave it some thought. I was now powerful. I didn't feel scared. "All right," I replied. "We can get coffee together." I visited a cafe a week later. I took a seat. I awaited his arrival. Harold entered the cafe. He appeared to be older. He appeared worn out. He noticed me. He smiled a little sadly. He approached my table. "Hello," he said. I said hello. He took a seat. "You look very happy," he said. "Yes," I replied. "Now I'm content." We had a lengthy conversation. He confided in me about his errors. He apologized profusely. "I understand now," he said. "I was self-centered. I really apologize. I paid attention. I trusted him." "Thank you," I said. Then he said, "Can we try again? Can we begin again?" I wasn't certain. I replied, "I'm not sure. I need some time to reflect." "I understand," he said. "I'll wait for you," he said. "Things must be different," I told him. "We have to make a fresh start. And I'm not going to stop working. I value my work." "I know," he said. "I promise," he said. We drank all of our coffee. We departed from the cafe. "Can I see you again?" asked Harold. "Maybe," I said. "I'll give it some thought." He turned to leave. I went to work and my apartment on foot. I have no idea what the future holds for Harold. However, I am now aware of my strength. I'm content with my life. My aspirations are significant. I'm free. And that's sufficient. Please click the like button and tell your friends about this story if you liked it. Remember to subscribe to Teddy English Story for weekly updates of more fantastic stories.
3 in the morning, pen in hand. Hannah slipped down the hall. That's when Betty came back. Not at the cafe with Harold, not when she packed her bag. Right there, alone in the dark, drawing circles on paper. I keep thinking about that box sitting in the storage room for 5 years, covered in dust, waiting. What's your box? The thing you put away and haven't opened yet? Share me in the comment section and I will read them all. Thank you so much for watching and see you in the next video.